Welcome back, Free Rocky Nation. This is vlog 14, part 4. Armed robber sentenced to 65 years. Like I said in the first video, you can still find the newspaper archives where the reporter attended my dad's trials and wrote articles. This is the fourth and final article that Bob Wigginton wrote, published in the Quincy Herald Whig. This article was written March 3rd, 1994. Armed robber sentenced to 65 years. Convicted armed robber Larry Harris was sentenced to 65 years in prison Wednesday for 1992 incidents at 2 local taverns. Circuit Judge Dennis Cashman sentenced Harris, 35, of 821 South 11th to 20 years for the armed robbery of the former Silver Dollar Tavern and another 45 years for the armed robbery of Kelly's Tavern. The sentences are consecutive, meaning the second sentence will not begin until the first is complete. Under Illinois' current day-for-day good time program and other measures intended to relieve prison overcrowding, Harris would serve about 32 years. Harris faced up to 60 years on both Class X felony convictions because of his criminal record. Harris's accomplice in the crimes, Kent P. Humphrey, 31, 1439 Cherry, address, turned state's evidence against Harris in exchange for a sentence of no more than 15 years in prison. Humphrey, awaiting sentencing, is in the Adams County Jail. So questions. Why was my dad listed as the mastermind and Kent Humphrey the accomplice? I want you to know that my dad was 150 pounds and he is 5'10". Unless he's shrunken a little bit as he's gotten older. He was 5'10" as a young man in his 30s. Kent Humphrey was 6'1", about 240 pounds. My dad's not going to force Kent Humphrey to do anything, okay? Secondly, my dad had an income and Kent Humphrey was unemployed. As I've mentioned before, even though he went to prison and served time for these crimes, he got out of prison and then continued committing other robberies. Third, why did Kent Humphrey get such a light sentence? Like, why was this his plea deal, okay? And why did this state make it so important to say that the crimes in Missouri were dismissed, but it wasn't part of the plea deal? Remember they stated that in one of the articles? I believe it was the third one. No, it might have been the first one. It was the first one, where Humphrey said, I didn't know if I was going to get a plea deal or not. Obviously. Now, why did Kent Humphrey have possession of cocaine, assaulting a police officer, lying under oath, stealing a truck? He damaged that truck, by the way. That truck was not able to be recovered and returned to the owner. He took that truck across state lines. And he was looking at 60 years in Missouri. And part of those charges were the things that were dropped. I think the federal implications where he took the truck across state lines, because I would think that Kent Humphrey should have been rotting in federal prison. At any rate, those are serious charges, except for the minor assault of a police officer, whatever that is. I don't know how you get away with minor assault of a police officer even in 1992. I digress. 15 years is all he got for all those crimes, including the 2 armed robberies and everything that he did in Missouri. And there were charges dropped. And as my dad said, had Kent Humphrey never testified, my dad would have never been implicated in these crimes. That was literally the only thing they had to tie to the crimes. And then there was the statement that my brother refused to testify to in court. So, again, why did Humphrey get such a light sentence? How did my dad get listed as the mastermind? Why did my brother not admit to the statement that he signed? And why, or what other things would have, we disproved their motive. So what other things did they actually have to connect my dad to the armed robberies? There was no gun. They never found the money. They said the gun was, sold. The eyewitness testimony didn't match.